So we are live. Watching some games here. Here we go. I don't know how many of you guys are watching, but I am watching this Tennessee Titans game. Still celebrating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the win that they got, baby. Ryan Tannehill, Dylan. Tennessee up 10-3. Third and 5. I'm liking it. Oh, nice sack, nice sack, nice sack. There we go. Come on. Well, in my pick'em league, I do have Tennessee, so only hope for the best. All I can do. Hope for the best. Got him. That was a nice little setup there. So, yeah, here we go. Watching the game. Devin Duvernay is the return. You got Brett Kern as the punter here. Yeah. So Tennessee went 3 and out. That was a nice kick. Nice kick. Behind the 20, so it would have looked like it would have dropped at the 19 or something like that. This is fun. This is definitely fun. Right here. Yeah, we're on commercial right now. So as you guys jump in here, I really want to hear what you guys think about the game. We'll be talking about the game here and there. Um, the game last night. I know a lot of people on Bucks Twitter. Uh, Shout out to the Loose Cannons and um, some of the other groups, Pewtercast and some of the other guys that were checking out the game. It was a lot of fun. Just listening to the interactions throughout the game. And then there were some who, let's see, dang, T. Smitty, what's going on, man? Hold on one second, T.
Hello?
Yeah, I got you,
Yeah.
man. What's good with you? How you doing?
I see you with the victory pewter on today.
Yep, that's right.
Uh,
The Mike Evans victory pewter and got the.
yeah. And I was watching it, right? Because I don't know. I called in late. I was on CP time last Wednesday.
So
but
you nervous? You nervous about this Alabama game? Just off the subject, just a little bit,
man, have you seen Alabama defense? Hell yeah, I am.
man.
But here's the thing. This is what always look at Alabama, right?
Uh huh.
Is that they play to a standard, and you see the leadership from the coaching staff and how they always people talking about the recruiting rankings and stuff,
Uh huh.
but you look up there every year, look at Alabama gets linemen all the time,
Right.
and and, because I think that's what the Bucks been doing lately.
Uh huh.
Because I don't care because we got a receiver they turned out since David got there, running back. But look at the linemen on both sides of the ball. He turned out also day in his 60. I think as long as they control the trenches, they'll be fine. And I think
Yeah.
that's the same way with the Bucks. Uh,
Yeah.
and like I
People
tell
were
people,
people were jumping out the damn window. With what the Bucks were doing. And it was like the Bucks never led it, never trailed in that game. And to me, if the Bucks started losing, I could understand everybody like freaking out and losing their minds and stuff. But this is the playoffs, man. This isn't this isn't that team that this isn't that team that you've seen over the past, decade or so. This is not that team.
yeah,
This is not even close to that team. So what you're seeing now is a squad that's out here, they're making moves, you know what I'm saying? So I
hmm
guess people like I always say sit back and enjoy the ride. 11 wins. I've enjoyed that. I mean, tell me
Yep.
you have not like looked forward to Sunday knowing that your quarterback's not going to throw a pick six in the first play of the game, or he's not. It's rare. If it happens, it's rare. It's not continuous. But our quarterback, the quarterback this year has been consistent, and he's given people hope. And this last 2 years have taught me how important your coach is, and how important the guy under center is. Two most important parts of this game. The loss of Vita Vea, which we talked about a little bit, is just huge. How important the trenches are as well. So, there just have been players like when Ali Marpet went out. Alex Kappa is a concern to me just because of what they've meant to this team.
Yeah, and he's an interior lineman, and that's why I was saying, people try the outside passes. Nah, that ain't it. The inside pass rush is actually more important than the outside pass rush, because someone like Brady who can't move, you make him step up because he saw Deron Payne get in there a couple of times, and the couple of times they got in trouble when Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen got in there.
Right.
And I think it's like you were talking about coaching. You see, and it's just where the whole bad team losing culture. When you hire bad coaches, your players develop bad habits because those coaches aren't good enough to fix those bad habits. and because I use two names, for example. I use Jameis and I use Mike Evans, for example.
Yeah.
You notice like how because Michael Clayton did a great job breaking down the route running last year. And,
that was huge.
Look at how
that was huge.
Yes, and they taught them like better route running, and that helps out. And also, people don't realize that Arians was a race against the clock. A lot of these cases also, and the money wasn't going around.
Right.
But he even said like Winston, his deep ball, he improved Winston's deep ball. Right. They asked him about it. He was like, "Oh, his Pete Carroll said something where his footwork was shit." Dirk Cuddle with this guy was 4 years. That's footwork. And I think it's still best for him to move on and stuff like that. But also, in both sides. Because you can't say no to Brady. Only a fool will say no to Brady. How dare Brady was like just
And I think it was. I really believe if Tom Brady would not have been available, I could have seen him bringing Jameis back. But
because he would have improved. Like what happened even with the offensive line. Brady pretty much run an Arian system.
Yeah,
he's holding the ball a long time. But what people are missing also is Tristan Wirfs on the right side.
Yeah.
Doc busted his ass, but he was longer than two. And Grump, he's a great tight end, not just catching, but blocking. Mm-hmm. Those are two bodies right there that will help you out. And look how long Brady's hold that ball.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. People talk, you hold the ball too long.
Right.
Ben Roethlisberger going to the Hall of Fame, he could count down on the sundial how long he holds the ball.
Yeah. But you have to look at the quality of coaching consistency, and you have a good general manager that's able to continuously get you good pieces. So I think that organization it doesn't
turn around.
Yeah, how many years have you seen where the Steelers have had a down season? Seriously.
Well, bad offensive line. One thing I didn't get a chance
look at Lamar Jackson.
I didn't get a chance because you guys were like heading out. But people don't realize, coach, not just coach quarterback, coach GM has to be on the same page.
100%.
Look at how they drafted and what they prioritized the free agency under Cutter compared to Arians.
But you have a coach that knows what he's doing compared to Dirk Cutter, who I didn't feel like he knew what he was doing.
Yep, and Light was a young GM.
Yeah.
Also, so you get that veteran coaching that say this is what we need, because people don't realize it takes years to build trenches.
Right.
Because you can't, and because under Cutter, people don't realize. I hear people, they couldn't get Winston, that, but like there's more nuance to it, right?
Yeah.
Because the bad picks, the people Dirk Cutter wanted, and Light lying on the job. They had no cap room for like 2 or 3 years to do anything. Right. And you can't draft every position in the same draft.
No.
And so and I think that with Arians and company coming in, where he's been in a good program in Pittsburgh,
right,
where he could take that with him and could say, like, let's get these linemen. Because I know everybody wanted Derwin James, but Vita Vea is making just as big an impact as him because he collapsed that pocket. He commanded a double team with Gerald McCoy with him.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, could Derwin James stop the run? First level on the run.
Nope.
I mean, is Derwin James getting pressure on the quarterback? You would have to run him on a gimmick play, and then all the time. And how would you utilize him? Yeah, he's flashy and all this. I know he's going to be good. I know he's just run into some unfortunate events. I have always been a huge Vita Vea fan. I mean, this was back when me and Michael Pless were doing the podcast together, and we were excited about Vita Vea, and he's the guy that we wanted to come to Tampa, just because Tampa had neglected the trenches going all the way back to 2003. And I shouldn't say neglected. I should say they've missed on free agents coming in here and making an impact. They've missed on draft picks. I mean, going back to Gaines Adams all the way up to what's the guy from Clemson that just turned out?
Daquan Bowers.
Daquan Bowers. I mean, you can look, and within that span, they hit on very few. Michael Bennett, they were very fortunate to get Michael Bennett in there. He's one of those guys. I felt like, man, if he had stayed in Tampa, if they had found a way to keep him, it would have definitely helped this team out. But we can see right now, just how important that front seven, that defensive line is. And if you go back to the last 3 years, the team that has won the Super Bowl have been, just amazing in the trenches on both sides of the ball, with the exception of the Kansas City Chiefs, who they just had a phenomenal season, and that was more of an offensive display than anything.
And they still have Chris Jones in the middle.
Oh, heck yeah. Exactly.
Frank Clark on the outside. Because like people, if y'all know about Vita Vea, the reason I got stuck on him and I was happy to get him, they played Alabama in like the playoff game. I think it was the Peach Bowl. And I was like, who the hell is Vic Samoa cat getting in the middle? He ran down Bama players.
Yeah.
At his position.
Who was the running back that year? Because I remember that game. He ran down your running back. Bo Scarborough.
Bo Scarborough.
And Bo Scarborough was balling at that time.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened since the NFL, but at that time he was balling.
And people don't how physical, how big he was. They couldn't block him. And Alabama lived on the trenches.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, oh, he could be a good player. You get that because what fans got to understand also. It's hard to get good defensive and offensive linemen in free agency.
It is.
Unless that team just has no money left, like the Titans did with Wisconsin when they had no more money.
Right.
But other than that, you're not getting those guys in their prime.
Yeah.
Or you got to trade for. But JPP was almost 30 when they traded for him.
Yeah.
They weren't trading JPP to the Bucs. He was 25.
No, exactly. Exactly. And that's what people, I guess if you understand the game, I mean, when the Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens were dominant, they were continuously drafting offensive linemen and defensive linemen. You go back and look at their drafts, there may have been 2 seasons, but not consecutive, where they didn't draft somebody within the top 3 rounds from either position. So it just shows you just how important it was for them to do that.
It's depth. People miss also his depth pieces also. And that guy may develop also because Alex Kapp, I think it was a 3rd round pick, but he was a small school tackle, so it took him a little bit to develop.
Yeah.
And now he's finally developed. Like, he was nice last year, but you could tell it took him a little bit to develop. Nothing wrong with that. That's how most players in the league are.
I'll say this. When they first put him in, you didn't hear his name. And that is a telltale sign right there. When you got an offensive lineman and you don't hear his name mentioned, that means he's in there doing his thing. He's doing his job.
Yep.
And so
that's all it is. It's all you need.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say this also. If you don't hear your defensive backs' names also, that's another good thing.
Exactly.
And Kapp was solid and he was growing. I'm like, okay, dang, I ain't hear his name that much. I said, once you develop, it's gonna be a nice player. And I think I know people talking Mike Evans being hurt, but the Bucs can overcome Mike Evans being injured because they got enough weapons there.
Bro, they've got three. They've got three starting wide receivers. Look, did you notice last night? Chris Godwin. Yeah. Chris Godwin had an off night. He was dropping balls. Mike Evans picked up the slack, and Antonio Brown picked up the slack. So they didn't skip a beat. And I love Chris Godwin. I love Chris Godwin. I think he's an incredible player. I think he should have been a first-round talent. I mean, if you go back and do a redraft, I don't see Chris Godwin being available past, I would say, 15. Mm-hmm. I don't see that happening. But with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting him, and, he came in and he's just shown, I know he's had some injuries, but he's shown what he can do. And, I would love to see him back in a Bucs uniform. Yeah,
I do too. But at the same time, I totally understand if he takes the money because he was on a third-round deal.
100%.
And I would not fault that guy at all. And I know his wife's going to be like, hey, like Tom Brady's wife, oh, you're coming back next year to take that $25 billion. All married guys, I know that story. Yeah, he's taking that money.
What mama wants, mama gets.
Yeah, and so that's where development comes in. And I think because a lot of times your receivers who are good are usually drafted not in round one.
Nah.
If you notice that.
Yeah.
And I think that, and like with this team, now, I think the loss of Kappa, if they play New Orleans next week, which let's just be honest here.
Yeah.
There ain't no way in hell Mitch Trubisky's beating that team this week.
You know what? If you remember that game they played, I know I shouldn't even be saying this because I sound like a hypocrite when I talk about the regular season versus the postseason. Chicago did not look bad against New Orleans just because the defense was on point and they was getting at them. I just do not understand, and maybe it's me, how you have Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill was killing Chicago, and Chicago did nothing to adjust to Taysom Hill being on the field. I think there's only been a couple of games where people have adjusted to him, and they've kind of figured it out. And
Philly.
Again, Philly, there you go. And when I look at Taysom Hill, here's a guy that he could play in every position on offense with the exception of offensive line. And again, they don't game plan for him. You remember when the Wildcat was all popular and everybody would see the Wildcat. You'd see the Wildcat lineup, and defenses were running their same defense. And then after that first year, maybe second year, coordinators started figuring it out, and then they started game planning for it. That's kind of the mindset that I have when I look at Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is an offensive weapon, and I've been saying that since before they gave him that big contract, but after they gave him that big contract, everybody's like, why are you paying this quarterback this much money and he doesn't throw? And I was like, he's a game plan changer. When you've got this guy and you can bring him in and you see what he can do, man, that to me, that's the part you got to solve right there is how to stop that guy.
And with him, right? I remember that Wildcat. The Dolphins beat the Patriots with it. Exactly. The next time they play the Patriots, I think the Patriots shut that down. Belichick shut that down.
but what I'm saying is that there are a lot of teams that just ran their defense. They saw the Wildcat, didn't care. They just ran their defense. They didn't really adjust to it too much. Until, after seeing it enough, and, the NFL is a copycat league. So seeing different people starting to do it, man, then you have to address it after a while. And real quick, I gotta jump in here real quick. Andy Finley, Rex Dillon from Buckaholics. What's going on, guys? I'm sorry. I promise you, I'm not ignoring you guys. Andy Finley from over in Scotland. I don't know what time it is there, but it's a lot later than it is here. The albino rhino, what's going on? He was talking about Vita Vea. That again, the people that are in the know that follow football, that understand this stuff, they knew that Vita Vea was a good pick. I heard so many people whining and complaining, and then when Vita Vea got hurt, everybody was like, I was getting roasted. People were like bringing up, they were like screenshotting my podcast. And they're like, hey, remember you said this about this guy? Where is he? And look at Derwin James. Derwin James is going to be a Hall of Famer. And I got that for weeks, man. And then when Vita came back, crickets. Just crickets.
Oh, and no knock on Derwin. I think he'll be a big time player, but it's easier to find a safety than a premium defensive lineman. And Derwin's had his injury issues too. And I hope both guys will be fine and have good careers.
I think he will career wise. If he could just get past all this, I think, man, the sky's the limit for this guy. We haven't even seen him come close to approaching the ceiling.
No, we haven't. And now Vita's not going to be a 10-sack-a-year guy. But if you notice, he pushes that pocket.
Right. And I don't expect him to be. He's come in and done exactly what we expected him to do. I mean, as far as, coming in there and eating up blocks, being a space eater, and you're not running up the middle with Vita Vea in there.
No,
just imagine some of the games that the Bucs have lost, especially like the Bears. Or even I would even say even the New Orleans games. I know he was in that first New Orleans game, but because that team never really played together in a real time game, that's kind of what you got from him. What you got is what you got. But I feel like if Vita Vea had gotten to flow with this team and he hadn't gotten hurt, and I think it would have been a different story in a lot of these games. I think that's the problem. Like we saw, there's not a lot of defensive pressure. Last night was a good example of that. What we saw, where the team and I don't know, they just seem lost. And this secondary we saw last year, they looked like they were playing as a team, playing as a unit, and people were handling their business. And it's just like they've lost all that this year. I'm not sure what's going on.
Tape, my friend, tape. But, they got off season to figure them out. But, like, people talk about the team in the off season. It wasn't the offense. I remember Saban said at the beginning of the year, the offense is going to be fine. It's the defense, because who the hell they going to go up against the practice with these limited practice times with these COVID protocols?
Right.
It's the defense that's why I tell people, offense, you can go out there in the park and get timing and, like, how fast you get off a break. But it's the defense, because you're not going against the offense through these reduced practice times with COVID. And you see these offenses have been jacking up a lot of points this year. And like, I know he was the opponent. I got to give Taylor Heineke a game ball.
Yeah.
People laugh. Remember people laugh at the XFL and the AAF. And I was like, that's maybe a way for some of these guys to get a shot to land on the roster, because you don't have so much spot and so many snaps. And you got the Walford kid from the Rams. Hope he gets better through his neck injury. PJ Walker for the Panthers. Those guys played in those leagues and got a look.
You know what I'm going to say about the XFL? It kept football in our lives for a little bit longer, because it came right after the XFL was set up to come in right after the Super Bowl. So we had a continuation. It may not have been on the level that you see in the NFL, but I enjoyed those games.
It was working.
The games were entertaining to me. I love, I'm going to go even further. I love the referees and the transparency that you saw in the XFL. It is what I really loved about it, and it made me appreciate it even more.
And Gene, it was working.
Yeah.
The coronavirus killed it.
Yeah.
Because they had, there were certain things, and this is why I say grown Vincent, man, change things up. Had a guy all up a luck, make it a little bit more real.
Yeah.
And I think, because it's pretty much a dressed up Euro League back in the day we was watching football, where you get these guys a shot to play, and you have NFL coach guys who've been in the league. And I think that stuff right there, because who knows? The Bucs may have been if they league kept going. You got a team in Tampa where the Bucs brass could have a scout just watch the games. You got guys in house, and I think something like that could really help these teams out, because some of these guys don't get a chance. Right. And you saw what happened with Heineke last night.
Yeah.
Kid got a chance, and he's about to be the next Chase Daniels Vanessa team.
Exactly. and there were coaches in the XFL that, like Pep Hamilton. What he's doing right now, I think he should be in consideration for something at least. I mean, just what he's doing in the NFL right now. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities. And I'm glad that they're bringing the XFL back. I hope that it all works out. I think we're really close to, with the vaccine and all this other stuff. I don't want this to turn political or anything like that, but I just want this to be over with, man. I mean, I've been doing my part, social distancing and stuff. I want to go. I want to go to the Super Bowl, but I'm just apprehensive, man, just because of everything that's going on and how serious this is. I don't want to be a factor in any of this. So I don't know. But you know what? We'll getting back on some subject here, man. The Bucks win a playoff game.
Woo!
Look at Dez. Look at
Good
Dez.
for Dez, to be honest. Good for him.
Dez is not to be intimidated.
I'm happy he gets to finish his career on the field. I like seeing players be able to finish their career playing.
That's right.
And not hurt.
He's earned that, man. You know what? I hate what happened to him. As much as I hate New Orleans, this guy had a second chance. And then I really believe, like this year when the Ravens were getting ready to play Dallas, I believe that Jerry Jones made a phone call so that I swear to God in heaven that Jerry Jones made an anonymous phone call to somebody and got Dez off the field. Because I believe what Dez has a lot in the tank, I believe Dez would have destroyed that team. But again.
Yeah. And think about this. Even with the Bucks, right, trying to win a game. Even there is mock draft talk, it's probably, hey, we get this lineman here in the first round. It builds a depth. It's not like, we need a quarterback. We need a wide receiver. And keep an eye on Landon Dickerson. He got hurt again for Alabama. He got him in the second round, third, to sit behind these guys and grow. Keep that guy in mind. But I think what happens is, this is why I hate tank. You keep these guys in a winning formula. Yeah. But also, look at the players they brought in. I know people want to point to the one guy no longer here, but look at Gronk, who teach habits. You got AB. People don't talk about AB, his personal issues, but he's one of the best route runners I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you look at some of the routes that he ran last night, I mean, just incredible. I get what you're saying. It's apples to oranges, and I'm not going to compare, one to the other anymore. But, what you get with Tom Brady is that decisiveness. I know that he's not, I saw some passes that he missed yesterday, and I don't know if that's a communications but as a whole, what he's done, he hasn't put this team in a position to where they're going to lose.
Yeah.
He's done nothing but just kind of go ahead.
And that's the foundation, and that's providing that foundation. Yeah. And I always say, look at the structure he came over. That's why I feel good about this team after Brady.
Yeah.
And because you got foundation pieces who leadership, who can teach people good habits. Because I remember they'll say he's coach on the field. I hope he is. He's been in the league 20 years.
Yeah.
and that's no knock on anybody.
Yeah. And then you look at like players like Ndamukong Suh and what he's teaching the younger players. I don't know, man. I'm with you. I like where this team is going. Somebody had asked in the chat, Thomas Corral was asking, does Brady talk AB back next year? I can see it happening. I think they work well together. I think he will. If he's still in the league, I think that he does come back. You heard it right here. That's my hot take for the day is I believe
1-year deal.
Yeah, I can see him coming back because he's got a lot to prove. And, he works well with Brady. He's just, I like what he's doing. I mean, he's done so much, just away from the ball. And I don't think a lot of people realize that unless you go back and watch how he's drawing, he's drawing defenders. So, yeah. And the one thing that I love about AB that used to piss me off about Deshaun Jackson, if he wasn't getting the ball and he knew he wasn't getting the ball, he'd cut off his routes. He jogged down the field. And we know how fast this dude is. But if you watch AB, he runs his routes like he's getting the ball every single time. And I've come back specifically to look for it in the games where he wasn't getting touches or, he wasn't in a position to catch a pass to go to the, to take it to the house. You still saw him running his routes religiously.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I mean, I've been nothing but surprised and happy. I should say pleasantly surprised with what we've gotten from him. So, I hope and pray that, AB could come back next year. And he hasn't been
1 year deal.
and he hasn't been a problem in the locker room, as we've everybody's alleged that we were going to experience. He hasn't been a problem off field. He's been doing what he's supposed to do, and I think he realizes that this is his last opportunity to really go in and do something. And I think that he is making the most of it.
Yep. And so you might want to kill him because people, you got to say this also. It may be Godwin insurance.
Yeah.
Or Evans insurance today if you have to move on from, those guys.
You know what?
And
I'm going to say this. I could not picture Mike Evans in another uniform besides a Bucs uniform. Just couldn't see it.
Yeah.
When you look at all the sacrifices that Mike Evans has made with with salary, just with touches on the ball, just everything that we've seen that he sacrificed, it just tells me that, this guy is going to, I really believe he's going to be here.
I believe he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I really believe he is. And we already got his spot in the ring of honor.
Yeah.
But I really believe Mike Evans get 2 or 3 more years in the Hall of Fame. But one thing about AB also, this is where bringing in the right person and also setting that right example. And because look at the receiver room when D-Jax was here. Look at the defensive line when Chris Baker was there. Compare it like an AB and a Gronk. Because because AB now, people can say what they want, but he actually will, if the ball ain't perfect, he will actually go after the ball. D-Jax was not going after it.
And his yards after catch is just ridiculous. He's a physical runner when he has the ball. And the one thing that I will say, if you watch him, is that when he gets the ball, he's gonna get at least 5 yards after the catch. His yards after the catch is just insane what he does. So and I think that a lot of other players are learning from him. Case in point, Scotty Miller. His route running, Scotty Miller's route running has gotten so much better this year than what we saw from him last year. So with him being healthy, I mean, he is another weapon that you can definitely get into the mix a whole lot more. Antonio Santiago, what's going on? Guys, thank you so much for being in the chat. If you guys want to, I can get you guys on film with, or not on film, goodness, on camera. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. And if you guys want to come on, you guys got a mic and you guys got a camera, I'll be glad to get you on. I'm just chilling with T. Smitty here, but it'll be kind of fun to get some other people on here. So I'm gonna drop this. So I don't want you guys to think that I've like forgot about you, because I haven't. Swear.
And while you're doing that, Gene, I'll shout out one guy that I was screaming about all year. Cam Brake. He looks faster than he has in years. And people kept talking about O.J. Howard this, O.J. Howard that. Like, look here. Even when he was at Alabama, and we had pedestrian quarterbacks who would dump it to his tight end in a heartbeat, he'd dominate. He was soft in. And I'm like, why we ride O.J. Howard's jock, waiting for him to come back, like waiting on Haley Kerman to come back? Cam Brake's been productive.
Yeah.
The whole time he's been here.
Consistent. Yeah. Oh, the whole time. And I think that, I would love to see him back here too. I think when you talk, what other tight ends? I mean, Gronk put on a blocking clinic, and poor Chase hobbling off I did feel bad for him hobbling off the field towards the end of the game. I felt really bad because he just got manhandled. And I was watching Gronk block him, and just that was a clinic. That was an offensive line clinic. Just all the basic techniques that you're using with your hands in front of you, and just the technique that he was using as an offensive lineman against a guy who's, I know he's a rookie, but just he's a freak of nature the way he plays. But again, that offensive line handled him.
It was Gronk, and that neither O.J. Howard or Cam Brake are great blockers,
right?
And so that's why I bring Gronk in was so important. Now, do we know how much juice Gronk has left in the tank? I think he and Brady are a package deal.
Yeah.
Like he gonna call it quits as soon as Brady does.
Yeah.
And you know that's why you got to go all in and go for it. But that's right there. Setting it like that helps so much. It probably helped Tristan Wirfs' development because even though Tristan Wirfs been great, you still got that guy right there as well. And you know, and I think those are some of the things where you get these young guys. Yes, you want them to be good at first, but you got these veterans right here.
Yeah.
You're not sticking these young, like even our cornerbacks. You're not sticking them with a guy who said they don't pay me enough to follow the best receiver. Even though my wife told me to say that. You know, those things like that. I still hate that, by the way.
I you know what? I know they done disappeared because I ain't really heard nothing from them. Either one.
Yeah.
Of them.
I was done then because I'm like, bro, you might have finessed another contract. You know,
it could have happened.
Yeah, and those are the things that trump talent, culture will always be there. And I think it takes years to do that. And like even Gerald McCoy, he was just wrong place, wrong time. You know, he was there when they had the bad coach and bad teams, and hopefully he finishes his career on the field next year.
Let me ask you this. And I know, you know, this, we're just watching the games, just talking, just kind of chopping it up. What do you think about, was Gerald McCoy a good player on bad teams? I know they we're going to have to exclude the 2010 season because that was if you look at the body of work, that was kind of an anomaly when you look at the rest of it. So when you look at Gerald McCoy and the people that were surrounding him, and he played. I mean, he had that get off that they talked about. But at the end of the day, when you look at his numbers compared to other players around the league, I don't know, man. I think he was a good player on very bad teams.
That's why I looked at it. He's like the NBA player who put up 25 or play for the Sacramento Kings. You know, or my Chicago Bulls nowadays. I think we're already mathematically eliminated from the playoffs already. But
you know, I'm trying to think of who you can.
Brad Beal last year. Last year.
There you go.
Made all those points. Was on a bad team. Doesn't mean he was bad, but a defensive lineman could only do so much on a team. You know, and like it's sometimes you are wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah,
and that I think that's what people don't. It's not about how high you go; it's where you go.
Exactly. Yep. Because some people use that as fuel. Look at Tom Brady. Case in point, Tom Brady's still pissed about where he got drafted at. I think Des Bryant is another player who was pissed off about where he was drafted at and wanted to punish everybody. Randy Moss was pissed about where he got drafted at, and that was his fuel. Who's the running back that used to play for Minnesota, plays for Detroit? Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Adrian Peterson.
You know, he's top 10. He's still number one.
Right, but he thought that he should have been first overall. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. These people get that and they use that for fuel, and that's what drives them. And it
is.
And like you said, it's not where you go, it's not where you start, it's where you go. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. They're talking about in the chat, they're talking about Alex Kappa. That is a huge loss. Alex Kappa, that is huge. We saw Ted Larson, and I was kind of sick to my stomach, man, just looking at Ted Larson. I remember why Ted Larson wasn't a buck and had to bring his ass back. But again, man, it's next man up. There's not a whole lot you could do, to fix this. You just, especially not this time of the year.
Yep.
All I could tell you, man, is they have to really tighten it down, man. I don't know if they have to make adjustments along the line or what they're going to have to do, but they're going to have to figure something out, to keep Tom Brady upright.
Yeah, because next week, if they play the Saints next week, because they can get the middle, the outside, and their receivers can cover.
Right.
And so that with Larson, because here's the problem: you can't help him out every single play.
No, you
They'll
can't.
pick up on that.
Yeah.
So you got to put his big boy pants on. And I ain't gonna lie, when I saw Ted Larson come to the game, I almost hit people up on Twitter say WTF. I thought he was dead. Like an old wrestler. You're like, oh damn, he's still here.
Exactly.
But you can't bring anybody else in because you got COVID protocol. They're not gonna play next week anyway.
Yep.
And so you just gotta roll with it. And this is where a running game will help you out. Because if Rojo's healthy, him and Fournette pound the rock, because if all you're going to do is pass, I hate to say this, Washington was also kind of stupid. Like, I think Rodney Harrison, he's one who pointed out they try to confuse Brady. I'm like, bro, he's been in 20 years.
Yeah.
You just got to rush him.
Yeah.
And
they went away from what's worked for them when they've won games throughout the season. What I've seen is that you can get to him, but just the way that people try to get cute and overthink things, like the Bucks did against the Saints. They got cute and tried to overthink everything instead of going with what's been working for them. They totally abandoned the run. And the one thing that I will give credit to Ron Rivera for, they kept running the ball. They kept on running the ball. They kept doing it. Regardless of what was happening the previous 3 quarters, they were still running the ball. And so, it was one of those things that, the Bucks could, you never know, because I always feel like Ronald Jones is like one play away from breaking it. Every time you look at him, he's like that one play away from taking it to the house. So again, but for now, I'm enjoying this, man. Just a playoff win. And I don't know, did you notice in Bucks Twitter last night where everybody just pretty much acted like the Bucks were down by 50?
I'm like, they were up, people, and I like they were up. And Washington got cornerback looking back at the backfield.
Oh,
like,
did you
Brady
see
ain't
that?
Like, what are you doing? if Brady runs a 20 yards, you shake his hand.
Exactly.
I'd rather have that than I think it was AB that ran past. It was AB of all people he let run past. I'm like, bro.
Oh, when he was peeking, because he was peeking back at the quarterback. Yeah. When he even hey, you gotta take care of business and take care of your responsibilities, and don't be going rogue.
And those are the things that win or lose your games. Just like this stupid thing called analytics. And everybody loves analytics, but guess what analytics did yesterday? Sent the Colts home. You saw that yesterday?
Listen, I'm not against analytics. I think analytics has its place in the NFL, but it shouldn't dominate everything else. I think there should be a balance of analytics, and then your tape don't lie and your eyes don't lie. What you see in front of you is what you see, and I think that kind of gets lost in the translation a little bit too. Yep,
it does, because at the end of the day, you always got to make sure you keep it a one-score game, or the fact you don't have to go for 2 unless you have to.
Right.
And I think those are some of the things where these coaches try to outsmart themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey,
I would have kicked. You're up and you're moving the ball really good. I would have just, Jesus,
kept the field goal and keep moving.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. This is a good one. This, in my opinion, I've always looked at Leonard Fournette in the same way as Derrick Henry. I wish he could have been more violent while running the football. He's actually a freak. He's toned it down to me. That's a guy. If you notice at the beginning of and this is a really good statement here, but if you notice at the beginning of the game, he was hitting the hole hard. That's what you saw from Leonard Fournette in the first 2 quarters is what I expected to see from him when he came to Tampa. That's what I expected to see. A guy that didn't care if he hits the hole, and you better be ready for him when he comes through. And just, I wish he would just hold on to that, but it seems like in about the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, he kind of reverted back to his old ways.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
Because remember, Derrick Henry came out in the draft the same year. Fournette went number 4 overall. Somehow, no one ever killed the Jaguars to pass up with Deshaun Watson and Pat Mahomes for Fournette.
You know what?
But Derrick Henry went second round.
I was so mad at the way they did Deshaun Watson. I was so mad.
Yeah.
Because this guy, you look at his tape don't lie. And you can say whatever you want to about him in Houston. He was doing his job. When he had DeAndre Hopkins, he was doing his job. It was a defense that was a problem. And when your upper management is sorry and they're stupid, there's not a whole lot you could do. And why give an idiot the GM job as well as the head coaching position? That's double indemnity right there. Fans need season ticket holders need a refund for all the stuff that dummy did.
Hey, Bill O'Brien, the GM, got Bill O'Brien the coach spot. He wasn't a terrible coach. And whoever the dude is who took over the Texas GM job, hey brother, if Deshaun wants out, we got a team in Tampa. We only see it every 4 years. We got young players. We got picks. If you want to take all the money off your book, we'll help. We will give you a gift card to Maestro, the Ruth Chris. You and wife go to a nice dinner.
That's
we will
right.
help you out if you want to send them our way.
I'll get him VIP over at Mons Venus if we had to.
That's what I'm saying. if you're that stupid to trade them, hell, we'll take them.
Right.
we gonna need a quarterback after a year.
Yeah.
But it just shows how organizations are big in football. Where that bad decision sets you back. They don't have a first round pick. The Dolphins got their pick as number 3 overall.
Yeah.
Try
to understand that.
Yeah. They could have gotten that left tackle from Oregon was coming out who's a beast.
Yeah.
Right there. Solidify your left side. So, now they're gonna lose that.
Yep. And the only way they can get those picks back is to move him, Deshaun Watson. It's the only way they can get that pick back. Oh man.
And they're stuck. And that's why organizations win because, and I think also you're gonna stop seeing these quarterbacks get paid early too. Look at Carson Wentz and Jared Goff.
Jared Goff is he finessed that's the ultimate finesser. Well, no, there are worse, but he's a finesser too.
Hey, cause you know Sean McVay be cussing to his old lady like this motherfucker golf. You know he is.
You know what?
He is.
And he likes the quarterback that got hurt is who he likes.
Yeah.
And I really believe that, man, he could have got, if he would have stayed healthy, man, there's no telling what they could have done because Jared Goff ain't gonna get you there. He ain't gonna win you a Super Bowl. I'll come on here and publicly apologize for what I said, but I can tell you right now, he ain't gonna win you a Super Bowl. Rojo, I have not heard a status on Rojo or what we're looking at. Will he be available for the playoffs? So
if it's a pull, even if it's a quad, you got to be careful on that too.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, don't want to be like Kevin Nash here, tearing every time you start walking. You know, but he like, I got one for you guys. Cause I was watching it because like it's an NFL talk. I want everybody to think about this. Cam Newton, imagine for $1 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy that even though he stunk this year, and it's still about a miracle Bill Belichick got that team to 7-9. You know, when you look at it. That's why I was like, hey, you know, but imagine if he had sat somewhere for a year for that $1 million, made sure he was completely healthy, and got back in the market this year when all he needed a quarterback. Now he went to a spot where I believe part of Cam was hell bent on starting.
Yeah.
And look what happened. He went to a bad spot. Well, and he couldn't complete a forward pass to save his life. He's done as a starter.
Yeah.
And maybe he just stepped back for a year.
Yeah. The other quarterback did. He took $1 million and then sitting back. I wish they wouldn't have started him because I wish they wouldn't have brought him in that one game because he still looks to me indecisive. Decision making is highly questionable. And again, I don't know. You don't know what you've got with him still.
Yeah, and sometimes it may be best to sit. And some people, You got to reconstruct the tear. Look at Mariota when he came in for was Derek Carr that game.
Oh.
He looked like a Duke quarterback. He looked fine.
Yep.
It's like I think that system has fit him. And I think sometimes you just got to, like Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
When he got his injury, and he went to New Orleans, was there a couple of years, learned the game, did all that, got healthy, learned the game for those 2 years, and got a deal. Yeah. And I think sometimes you just got to step back for a year or two.
Yeah.
And go to the right situation.
Swallow your pride and do that. So
and that's maturity.
Yeah, and like I'm looking at Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles has an opportunity to become a head coach, but if he goes into another bad situation like he did in New York,
it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. You got to look at top to bottom ownership. There are so many things you got to look at, especially Detroit. Detroit's just a clusterfuck every year, and they've got Matt Stafford is the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. After Megatron left, he really hasn't had any quality receivers. He hasn't had any quality anything around him too much, has he? I mean, Golden Tate.
DeAndre Swift is going to be a good back, but the coach decided he wants to keep playing Adrian Peterson, even though Adrian Peterson kept saying start Swift.
There's nothing you could do, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, this guy, he was doomed to a bad organization, kind of like what Barry Sanders was doomed to a bad organization. So I don't know.
You know what the ironic part is though? Detroit's ownership doesn't meddle.
No,
you don't even know who the hell these people are. They just hire bad people.
Yeah, they hire some horrible people.
Yeah, I would love to work there if I was a coach or a GM because they don't meddle. Yeah. And I think that Bowles, because Tom Bowles reminded me of the story. I remember Joe Paterno said this years, like almost 30 years ago now, about this coach here, Ron Dickerson. And you know how hard it's black men to get a coaching job. Yeah. And he was on the staff, and Temple wanted to hire him. You remember 30 years ago, Temple was god awful.
Yeah.
And,
it was bad.
Paterno said, "Do not take this job." But he want to be a head coach because it's a bad job. Yeah. You have a bad record, and you'll never be a head coach level again. Yeah. Well, he took the job. Got fired in 3 years. He was coaching at Alabama State, HBCU, in my hometown. So I think he would have retired after that. But that's what a bad situation was.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. You got to really be thankful for Bruce Arians bringing him back in, giving him another opportunity. I mean, and then assembling a quality group of players for him to work with. Because we live in such a microwave society right now, Todd Bowles has to go to the right situation. And I don't think Atlanta is the right situation. I really don't. I do not think Atlanta. I respect their ownership. I don't respect their fan base or anything, but their ownership, he's gonna open the checkbook up and say, get whatever you need. But I just do not feel like, that's a good situation for him there. Detroit, another spot, that's not a good situation for him. I would think that Todd Bowles would, stay here in Tampa, and he could potentially be your head coach in Tampa when Bruce Arians decides to tuck it in. That was kind of what I was expecting to see, was that Todd Bowles would say, "Oh, okay, no, I'm not looking right now," and hone his craft, because he knows everybody in Tampa. He knows, as far as the team goes, and you're just, promoting from within, and you could pretty much keep your structure the same as what it is when Bruce Arians is ready to retire. So that was my thinking. I would be like, man, you're in a good situation, and you could potentially be the head coach here. I mean, they could have definitely set that up and just kept everything in succession, and you're not having to reinvent the wheel. You just bring this guy up and let him do what he needs to do. But I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to say no, and like if he sits back and wait.
Yeah,
Denver may come open next year. They got a lot of good young talent. All they need is a quarterback.
Right.
The Falcons got to be in a full. They're going to be in a full rebuild.
That's a full rebuild. That's how it was. That's how it was in New York. That's how it was in New York. And you had some players that were unhappy, but the players he brought in really helped the Jets, but they didn't give him enough time to really finish the project, to be honest. And
he had a young Sam Darnold. Because
Yeah.
remember, he got 10-6 that first year. The Fitzpatrick went to bed in that game.
Yeah.
And if I have a young quarterback, I'm getting rid of Fitzpatrick because he can throw one touchdown pass, 10 picks. Hey, y'all saw that one touchdown pass? We love Fitz. God, you know, that's what getting likable gets you, people. But and so he had a young Sam Darnold, and you know, I know it's a bad situation, but he didn't flash anything yet. And hopefully he turns it around. But
yeah, I think Sam Darnold's going to have to go somewhere else. I think he's going to need a change of scenery. I don't see him doing anything in New York. That's another organization that's just poorly run from top to bottom.
And that new GM is making moves. That the new GM came in doing things. You're like, hold on, you give me 2 firsts for an in-the-box safety? Here you go. You know, you want to pay him $20 million like a dumbass? Here you go.
Exactly.
And he got a great. He drafted a good lineman, Mekhi Becton. He's a good lineman.
Yeah, he is.
It seems like, seems like everybody except for the Giants when they drafted those tackles are happy with that pick, except for the Giants, of course.
Yeah, that's what and that just goes back to what I'm saying, man. He's got a good situation here. He's got some things he can work on. He knows the core. He knows the core of this team. He can come in and just put his own touches on it when he's the head coach. I swear to you, I'm telling you, that would be my thing. Would be to stay where I'm at. Continue to groom these players, these young players, and get them ready. And then when you become a head coach, I mean, you're not having to make a lot of moves. You're not having to make a lot of changes. You're not having to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, because if he goes to Atlanta, he got to get a new quarterback.
They're in total rebuild mode. I mean,
and you don't have time for that.
Yeah, look at Natty Ice. Natty Ice got what? What do you think he's got? Maybe 3 years left in him, maybe?
Should I say I trade him now if I could, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because that bloated ass contract he's got based on what he's. Yeah. I mean, but I will say this: he's had 5 or 6 4,000 yard seasons in a row, or something like that, something crazy, some outrageous stat like that. But I tell you what, I'm going to say this: I would rather have a quarterback that gets me 4,000 yards and a quarterback that gets me 5,000 yards and getting to the playoffs, rather than those individual stats. So again, I think the code has been cracked on Matt Ryan. I don't see Matt Ryan leading a team to the Super Bowl. And I think, you may need to move on from him.
And it's okay. Look how many years they had him. It's just like the Patriots of Brady. Look how many years they've been together. Yeah. And I'd rather move off Brady at 43 than at 33. At least you can say, hey, we got every bit. Yeah, and it's like I always say, it's like the Kobe Shaq breakup, for example. Yeah. And that's what it is. And I'll tell you this, I just thought about you talking about the Falcons. Like, I tell you, my sister lives in Atlanta. She got 3 boys.
I'm sorry.
She sent me a Christmas picture, one of them wearing a Falcons jersey. I just text her. I text the kids, that poor thing. I just text her. I'm sorry. I say, but and that's really a situation.
Yeah.
Because Houston has no draft pick. Unless you be like Matt Rule, you got to give me a long-term deal. Or like Shanahan gave the Niners. I'm telling you, I need guaranteed money.
Yeah, and the only thing that I would have to have in my contract is it would have to be like a 4-year minimum before we would even consider firing me. Where you're basically doing an absolute rebuild, because I can guarantee you 100% JJ Watt is not coming back to Houston. Not coming back. And that's the heart and soul of your defense right there. So basically, you got an unhappy quarterback on your offensive side of the ball, and you got a legend, first ballot Hall of Famer on the other side of the ball that is all but said he's not coming back. And you're going to have to just rebuild all this. And you would have to be a Superman to have a competitive team that you could roll out there for the fan base. So I don't know, man. I just when I think about the options that Todd Bowles has, I would be, if it were me, and again, I'm not a head coach. I've never been one, but just logically how I'm looking at it, you could potentially be in a good situation where you could, pick up the mantle here in Tampa, and you've got everything in place, and you don't have to do a whole lot.
Yeah. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Gene. If the Chargers offer Todd Bowles a job, I'm like, hey, Todd, you might want to take that one, bro. He got the quarterback. He got players all over the place.
I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't like the way they did that, Coach.
I would give him another year.
Yeah, I would have given him another year because he has a rookie quarterback. That would have given me the opportunity to reach out in free agency or the draft to get him some more weapons. And I really believe that they would have made some noise under what was his name?
Anthony Lynn.
Yeah, Lynn. I believe Lynn would have made some noise in the AFC West, just because Gruden ain't doing shit. Denver, they're the donkeys, so we don't know what the hell they've got going on.
No quarterback.
Yeah, no quarterback. And then Kansas City is they can be beaten. We've seen that. So
yeah,
again, I believe that nobody expected this quarterback to be this good, franchise quarterback. You have your franchise quarterback, and it's a lot of teams. I could tell you like maybe 30 teams in the NFL could move on from their quarterback maybe if there was somebody else better came along. But it's very, again, it's hard to get that guy that you want to hitch your wagons to, and that's the guy you're going to roll with.
It's hard because, like, all these PG draft funds, only a couple say they like Herbert more than Tua. Now, Tua didn't look so hot, and I still think, hey, can you let him wing the ball downfield? Or maybe not play him this year because he had a bum hip. Right. And your arm strength is based on your base. They shouldn't have played him. Now you set yourself up because everybody, or if you're going to play the guy, wait till Ryan Fitzpatrick becomes Ryan Fitzpatrick. We know how this works. Because everybody, I don't know, Ryan Fitzpatrick must have cured cancer or something. Because everybody loves this guy. He's not that good.
Yeah.
But not it. Like, it's like how microwave society, where they need to move off Tua. Yeah. I'm like, damn, can we give the guy at least 2 years? Can we at least, find a system that may work for him? Or better yet, have his starting receivers healthy, running game. Look at the team. And I think that, everybody look at Arizona, but this is where nuance comes into play.
Right.
This is where the hot take media messes up. Cliff Kingsbury run a type of system that Josh Rosen never would have fit in. Right. Kyler Murray fit that system.
Yeah, he was a special
and that's
player.
Why he went there.
But Kyler Murray is part of that Mahomes effect. When you got a quarterback that can just move around and run and still throw the ball, and he's just dynamic and he can make plays with his legs. That's kind of what you saw with Kyler Murray. And so you got Josh Rosen statue, and you're like, okay, I know he was your first round pick, but we have something a little bit better that suits the head coach that's there. And that's kind of why they went ahead and moved on from Rosen. Rosen was just unlucky, period. He just unlucky. Yep. Hey, what do you think about this? Let me ask you this real quick. Amazement 717. If I'm the Chargers, I would go after Sean Payton. Breeze will retire, and that Chargers team is ready to win now. They need an experienced coach. They remind me of the Bucks, and I can just see them just needing a head coach. Man, that would be as much as I hate Sean Payton, old pucker lips. He's a genius. He's an offensive genius. He really is. And he's got a Super Bowl win. The one thing that I will tell Saints fans that if this team is so amazing and they've won all these regular season games, why do they only have one Super Bowl to show for that shit? You can say whatever you can say. What you got to say. You can say whatever you want to about the Bucks. The Bucks are trash. The Bucks are this. The Bucks are that. But when we look at Super Bowl trophy cases, look, we match up with them. They've gone out and won all these games and set all these records and done all this other stuff and had all these postseason games. But, at the end of the day, what is it all for?
It reminds me of the guy who tried to holler at 20 girls in the club and none of them said yes to him, but he keeps going anyway.
Exactly.
But there's only one problem, right?
Yeah.
It's that Sean Payton is tied in to probably the best GM in football. The guy's like launders money.
The GM. Yeah, he's got to have some kind of scheme going on there. And if you guys don't know, I do have a love-hate relationship with Mickey Loomis. The guy's a fucking genius. The guy's a genius.
And he could draft it. But see, also, the Chargers, the Spanos family owns the Chargers. They're cheap. Are they going to want to pay Sean Payton that much money? Yep. They're not gonna want to pay him what he wants to get him out of a spot where he can. Now, here's the thing: people gonna realize they're not gonna fire Sean Payton.
No,
He pretty much gonna retire as the head coach.
Yep.
So you gonna get him out of that for ownership who's cheap.
Yeah.
Any individual, Patrick Mahomes. I'd rather stay where I'm at because your Bucks gonna be moving on for a quarterback in a year. The Falcons gonna rebuild. The Panthers are rebuilding.
Yep.
If whoever hits at your quarterback and you get through this cap hill, you may still be up there anyway. So, and plus, why am I gonna leave it? Like, it's a good question, honestly. It is, because if it was college football, yeah, these coaches leave all the time.
But what you got to consider with college, man, I mean, you're damn near rebuilding your team every other year, realistically, because this isn't like the NFL where, you know, free agency, you can finesse in free agency and fix some things, and you continue to build that dynasty like Alabama or Ohio State has done. But you know, in the NFL, they're two different animals, you know.
Yeah. If you got that job security in the States where they won't fire you, he might as well stay there. Cost of living's better. Yeah. He know the division, all that stuff, and you got a GM who's not just a finagle the cap, but he's a great drafter.
Yeah,
he can draft.
Oh yeah,
Mickey
Loomis.
Yeah, so you got that. You got support the ownership. Your players buy in. I would just stay there, but it's a good question.
You know, and somebody mentioned Sean Payton going to Dallas. Not as long as Jerry Jones is alive and breathing. No offense. Again, no offense. I mean, it would be a good fit, but because of who you have in Jerry Jones is a coach killer. I mean, you had the big tuna there. They had a chance.
He quit.
The Dallas Cowboys had a chance to have a 5-year dynasty easily if they would have kept everything in place. But because you got two egos with the head coach, GM, and the owner who wanted that glory, then it's just not the same. And to be very honest, the Barry Switzer Super Bowl should still get defaulted back to the previous coach because you had the same damn team that you had the previous year. And I could have came in and coached that team to a Super Bowl at that time, me personally.
Yep.
So again, because Jerry Jones is his ego is bigger than Texas, you can't be a good coach or GM and come in and do anything because it'll be undermined and you still won't win. It's just something about Dallas, and Dallas, unfortunately, will never win a Super Bowl until the Jones family gets their hand out of the everyday occurrences of the Dallas Cowboys.
Steven, not so much, because Steven talked Jerry into drafting that center instead of Johnny Manziel. He had to get him off the cliff. And it's like what people don't realize. Like Parcells turned that team around.
Yeah.
And he quit.
Exactly.
Jimmy Johnson would have had a dynasty. He quit.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Jimmy Johnson should have had 5 Super Bowls, maybe 6, just based on the squad that they had and the way that they were going. And
they were young.
They were young too. They were all young. They had it all set up, but because Jerry Jones' ego, like I said, his ego is as big as Texas. He is not going to ever win. They're not going to win anything. It's something about that dynamic. They've got all these big name coaches. Mike McCarthy's there. Mike McCarthy's going to look like a dumbass in the next 2 years. He'll be out. Trust me. He'll be out.
Now that's the divorce where the quarterback clearly won.
Yeah.
That was obvious. But like Tampa is actually a good spot for coaching because the ownership doesn't meddle.
Yeah, they don't.
They will just fire your ass if you lose too much. Yeah. But I'm cool with that because they have a standard.
Right.
You know,
and they
don't meddle.
And I don't think they know what the hell they're doing. I think you need a go-between moving forward, like a president of president of operations or something. You get somebody who knows GMs, who knows quarterbacks, who knows basically scouting. You got to have somebody that's got some sort of scouting IQ that you can bring in, to be the go-between between the general manager and ownership. And then when you're getting a GM in, don't get a GM that's career started with him being a swimmer, because that ain't gonna get you shit. And we've seen that with Mark Dominic.
Yep. And it what kills me because, like, for example, go between. If he had a good football operations guy, Dirk Cutter would never gotten the job.
Hell no. And Chip Kelly would not have been on the list of coaches to come to Tampa either. Chip Kelly, and we would have avoided the whole Schiano nightmare.
Yep. Because my thing with Dirk Cutter was, I love college football more than I love NFL. Really, part of because I was born and raised.
Right.
But Dirk Cutter was going couldn't even go win in Arizona State. You know this. You go 9-3 and make a Rose Bowl, they put a record statue in your honor.
That's right.
He couldn't even do that. He failed in college. And we expect him to be a success in the pros. People, what are we looking at here? That was my thing. At least
think about this. When Schiano was at Rutgers and USF was playing Rutgers, he looked like trash then.
Yeah. What did you see, people?
That's what, and again, it just as you look at this stuff, you just don't. I don't understand it. Somebody's asking if Dak Prescott is available after Brady is done. Should we? You know what? I'm going to say this. Dak Prescott's looking for a max contract, a huge ass contract, and that kind of puts him out of out of any. It would have to be realistic for him to come here. I like Dak Prescott. I do. I don't like Dallas, but I like what he did this season with the level of talent that he had. I was very impressed with what he did, and I was pretty devastated by that injury he got. But I think he just wants too much money. I just don't see him. I don't see him as a quarterback coming to Tampa, to be honest. I think the one guy that I could say that could potentially come here would probably be Joe Cool in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers. I could potentially see that. I could potentially see that where he would have an opportunity to come somewhere warm, and a team that a good head coach, quarterback combination, good GM. And I think that they can make another run at it. I could see that happening. I don't think that it will, but another player that I could see coming in here.
I could see that happening because after a while, because you got the best years out of Aaron Rodgers in a year or so, and you kind of got to see what you got in Jordan Love, even though I don't think he's the guy because I watched him in college.
Yeah.
He has a long way to go.
Right.
But and nothing wrong with that. But it's like so I coach quarterback. It made me think about something. I was talking to my friend the other day. I run to my barber is a Washington fan, so I had to rib him. He owed me some wings. But but I was talking about Arians, right, with coach. I said, think about it. Brady is the first made man quarterback that he coached. He had rookies or two guys, like Carson Palmer and Jameis, who were like at a crossroads in their career.
Right.
So they ain't gonna say, "Hey man, I'm not doing this," and it ain't gonna work. So they'll be like, "Hey man, I'm just cool, man. I'm trying to keep a job," you know. And Brady was actually that, and I think that would may have been an adjustment for Arians as well. And so but I think that's working. And I just hated how the hot take media kept saying, "Oh man, they have a great relationship." I'm like, Belichick ain't friends with none of his players. You don't have to be friends with the guy. We just got to work together.
Yeah, Belichick is a supervillain. I could see him like hiding somebody's puppy from him or something like that. That just is kind of how he comes off to me.
Yeah. It's okay. Because people be like, oh, man, they mad at this. They don't have a good relationship. I'm like, Arians will get fired. I'm like, no, he's not.
No. He's gonna go out. He's gonna go out under his own power. Trust me. Ain't nothing happening with Arians. Trust me.
Yes. I just hate how these hot. It's always joked around saying this is the first year they watch Bucs games in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Because they'll talk like Donovan Smith's a rookie. Dude was in his 6th year.
Dude, you know what? It's been really interesting. I don't watch the national media. I don't watch ESPN. I don't watch CBS, ESPN. I don't watch any of them. NFL Network. I don't watch any of those guys. Yeah. Everything I get is normally local. Greg Auman, Jenna Lane. Yeah. And Bucks Report or whatever. That's normally where I get any information that I get. So when I see stuff on my Twitter line from people like Steve Smith, who is talking about the Bucks are going to get blown out and stuff like that, Let's kind of chuckle at it because I believe, and I don't know how correct this is, I believe these guys have scripts. I believe there are narratives and storylines that these guys are looking into. Okay, this is how we want to drive this. Remember the buyer's remorse. Remember the first game of the season. Brady lost the first game of the season. Cam Newton balled out, and they're like, Tampa. And I saw all these storylines. You know, Tampa has buyer's remorse bringing Brady in and stuff like that. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? They have no idea what's going on in Tampa, but they're going to put some bullshit like that up.
Yeah.
And it's just stories like that. And then, you know, Bruce Arians, everybody knows how Bruce Arians is. Bruce Arians called out Tom Brady on something. And, the coach called out Tom Brady. They hate each other. And so all these things that are coming across my line, I'm like, how the fuck do you think this stuff up? If you have even an inkling of understanding, you watch, you know, you look at what they're saying in local news, you know what's going on in Tampa. But you come up with some bullshit story like this for clicks, and all these people are believing this. I've had people call me, man, it doesn't look like Tom Brady's going to be in Tampa the rest of the year because him and Bruce Arians don't get along. I'm like, where the fuck did you get that from?
That's my thing.
Go get your money back. If you actually bought that article, you need to go get your money back on that. It's just crazy. It's like TMZ. It's like, I don't know if you have ever followed Joe Buck's fan. Horrible site. All they do is bring up scenarios about, okay, this is what they think could happen. And it just, this is not good. It's not good. It's more, like I said, more like TMZ. And they want to, and like Amazement saying, they want to dissect all of Brady's TDs. They won't break down any other quarterback stats except for Brady's. So, you know, again, it's not for me. But when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, man, they have this narrative that they're trying to push. And there are some reporters that can only ask certain questions that are provided to them by the station. So, again, I have no use for any of that. But that one thing from Steve's, I went and looked for the video on YouTube, and he did say that. He's like, you know, Tampa's going to get blown out their first game in the playoffs. And it was ironic that, you know, he came from Carolina, so I know he's kind of salty about, for whatever. He's just salty, and that's just who he is.
Mm-hmm.
So
you know what? I see what happens is now if they say, hey, they don't beat one playoff team, let's see what they do here. Something like that was a little bit more like, okay, that's a fact. Yeah. But we say, okay, let's see what happens. That's my criticism, right? Hey, I want to see them be more playoff teams, like teams winning records. That's not a hot take. It's just fair because this is how you know they don't watch Buck games. Bruce Arians called out Jameis Winston last year. Yeah. And I don't think they hate each other. They probably, Bruce probably hollering him on the phone. He's that type of guy, hey, man, we're going to move on here. Yeah. Wish you best of luck or whatever. Yeah. And Bruce called teams trying to help him get a job.
Yeah.
But that don't mean you hate the guy.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's timing. But I just think that people don't pay attention. It's like these narratives they create.
Right.
It's like, look. It's all about. There was questions I had about the offensive line, and I didn't even estimate how good big time Grant was going to make that, or Tristan Wirfs as a rookie.
I had no idea that Rob Gronkowski was going to be that big of much of an important piece to this team.
Yeah,
I had no idea. I never would have thought about that.
Yeah, and it's like
Mr. Everything
secondary for us now.
Mr. Everything Bucks. Let's talk about we're 1-5 against playoff teams and we can't win in prime time. So you know what?
We won last night.
Hey, I'm serious. You can stop. We can stop talking about that now because that's that's a non-factor. That's just what it is right now. We won. The Bucks won in prime time, so we can stop talking about that now.
Yeah,
and they'll say half of Brady's touchdowns came against certain teams. They don't do that with Rodgers and Mahomes. Packers and Bucks had similar schedules since we played each other's divisions. That's a great point too. Tampa Tampa did. They went out. Tampa has no control over who they play. That's like going out 4-0, going 4-0 after the bye. Now 5-0. The Bucks have no control over who they play. But in the previous years, when they've controlled their destination, their destiny, they haven't handled it. But this year, they're handling business. As these games come up, they're winning games like they're supposed to.
And like with the schedule, well, it ain't their fault that Bailey can't hit a 10-yard field goal.
Yeah, that's not on
Bailey.
Hey, go talk to him.
And I thought the Falcons would be better this year, to be honest. I thought they would. And they play hard for Raheem. You can tell they just didn't have enough.
Yeah.
And I hope he gets that opportunity. But yeah, you can't control that because you just got to get out there the schedule, because even in NFL, you got teams that make the playoffs like this year won't make it next year due to injury.
Right.
And that's the same thing that happened to the Bucks, because they've been lucky on the injury front for the past couple of seasons. Usually teams that end up hitting them, so that's why I always say about maxing out. But I can't. My only thing with those stats people say, it's a disparity, like the difference in the stats. It's like you do like a 1-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. Right. You just say that. There's a lot of nuance that I'm not talking about the guy that asked the question. I'm talking about in general. When you see stuff online that people don't dig into it.
Yeah, they don't dig. That's kind of what we're talking about. Like Mr. Everything Bucks is saying, is talking about, because the media is talking about the 1-5 record. They're not looking at the whole picture. They've got this one narrative that they're trying to push out of everything. Instead of looking at everything as a whole, they could have easily said the Bucks have been 4-0 outside of the bye, and they put up X amount of points. They've done this. They've done this. They could have framed it that way, but they chose not to. So that's just like I said. I think when you are closer to podcasts and streams and media members that they follow this team and they're unbiased, that's kind of what you want.
Yeah, I call it like I said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like for certain things. And I dig deeper stuff, because I like, that's my concern with a rush against the winning teams. That's my concern. And like some fans may not be concerned about it. And like you always say, there's no right way to be a fan.
That's what I'm saying. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I don't got to agree with it, but it just, like I said, it is what it is. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Zach Jarvis, losing Alex Kappa is huge, but I think that this team, they have to overcome it. You come too far right now. You're 12-5 right now currently. They just gonna have to keep going, man. They just this offensive line is gonna have to find a way to work together and just kind of hammer out that win. You've got enough talent on the team, and I think the way this team is being coached, I really love how this team's being coached, by the way, offensively, and I think they'll recover. As for the secondary, those kids are young. They're still young, regardless of what you guys say. And I think there's opportunity. These are all coaching problems. They're not. They have the physical tools to be good, and we've seen them make plays. It's just going to be up to them to make plays and do their job. Do your job. Worry about your assignment. Worry about what you have going on, which I feel like was a huge part of the problem in the game last night, was that not trusting each other. And I need to get back to that, because we saw that last year and we saw how well they played, and everything else is just kind of fell in place. And we need to see that again. We need to see that from the secondary, especially, where these guys are trusting their eyes, trusting what they're seeing in front of them, and just take care of business.
One thing is perfect example of the media's golden narrative. Yeah, it's so not on Brady. Yeah, like he won a Super Bowl by himself. It kind of ties in where you say it's like the whole do your job thing. When they beat Seattle, Malcolm Butler got that pick, but they will coach that route. When you see that, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And so, in Belichick's mantra always was do your job.
Right.
Because if everybody does their job, it doesn't matter about the name on the back of the jersey.
Yeah.
It's about the name on the front when everybody does their job. And I think that's the missing, with these young guys secondary.
Yeah.
Is that you got that, because I believe that they are one rung up too high in a hierarchy of positions on the field.
Right. And
no shame in that, but they can still function.
Yeah.
But it is hard to find that number one lockdown guy. It's hard.
Yeah.
So you do the best what you can.
Right.
But as long as you do your job, that's how you get far in this league. That would help those Patriots all those years. Defense, line, special teams. Everybody did their job and filled their assignment. And that's the thing, right? And that's why it wasn't about the name on the back there. They had talent. You didn't know who the hell they were because they did their jobs. And I think that's the step with this team right here.
Yep. Amazement 717 was saying you can't say any given Sunday and then knock a team for winning. It makes no sense. That's right. Whoever you face, that's who you face. You got to. It makes sense too. You got to go out there and play the game. You got to go out. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. So I'm watching this.
Yeah, that is true.
This wild card game is really good, actually. The Ravens are up 17-13 right now on the Titans, but this game isn't over, so we'll see what happens.
Before I run, I gotta say this. Hey, the don't pay running back crowd. Find me a running back that would do for Tennessee what Derrick Henry done. I hate when people say that.
But
Not saying you gotta get a guy big money.
But Derrick Henry's special, man. I mean, I look at Zeke Elliott. After Zeke Elliott got that bread, man, he just went on PTO for some reason.
He didn't have it. See, and that's what up there. That's where you gotta know your people.
But there was always, he was one of those guys. There was always a question about his work ethic to some extent before he was drafted.
I would have traded him. Yeah, and see, if people like that, you can't pay. You trade them. Mm-hmm. And Derrick Henry always had work ethic. He never said he was out of shape.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook, those guys, even Alvin Kamara. Look what he does for that offense. Because Breeze can't even throw a ball through paper right now, and he can't throw a wet bag. But look what he does.
Yeah.
And you telling me you can find some guy off the street that could do that? Please.
Yeah.
It's like Christian McCaffrey. I will pay those special guys.
Right.
And I just think that it's like people still stuck on the Mike Shanahan Broncos.
Yeah.
And the Shanahan system was a different system. But those guys leave, they suck.
Yeah. Basically, that's what happens. And that's just how it goes. And I do want to say that, just so you heard me say this, man, Donovan Smith had an incredible game last night. Playoff game. Incredible. And I'm not gonna nickel and dime him and just break down everything he did. Collectively, Donovan Smith had an amazing game. Shout out to him. I'm always harsh about him, and I always talk about wanting to launch him into the sun or curb stomp him. He had a great game, and he did what he had to do, and I loved it. And I was happy with him stepping up and handling a young Chase Young. And like I said, at the beginning at the top of the show, just seeing him in the fourth quarter hobbling off and stuff, not looking like he was not having that swagger he had at the beginning of the game. It was pretty satisfying.
And he'll learn from that.
Not the injury piece of it, but just how he was pretty much humbled by that.
Yeah. And he's going to learn from it. And I think, he's going to learn from it. But I wasn't even mad at his comment. I thought, hey,
they overblew the comment, though. Listen, you shouldn't interview a football player immediately after a game because of the adrenaline, the emotion, and all the other stuff that they have going on. You can't, it's not fair. So this guy had just made it to the playoffs. For the rookie guy, made it to the playoffs. What is he, like 21? He's young as hell. And he's excited. He's not got a mic in front of him saying making these hot takes. He's talking to a teammate and they're skipping off the field. And he said it. I think they made more out of it. That's why I didn't really say a whole lot about it on any of the shows I've been on, because I'm like, yeah, whatever. He said it. What's he supposed to say?
Yeah, what are you supposed to say? Hi, Mr. Brady, top of the morning. Please go for 350 and 4 touchdowns and no picks while we get unimpeded. No, he was like, I want Tom. They're like, people forget. Tom Brady asked Richard Sherman, Legion, hey, what's your name? All right, come see me after you get this win. And they lost the game to Seattle. Sherman like, hey, you mad, bro? People, these players talk a lot of trash like that during the game.
And it is what it is.
Play sports who didn't. Yeah. That was because no one. It's like no one on that Bucks team was mad about that. Oh man, we say that to each other all the time.
Yeah.
Just having fun.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady's a competitor. Trust me, he will like that.
Yeah.
That's being a competitor. If you don't want to go against a guy who want to half step and kiss your ring, because I tell you this, when the Patriots played here Bucks a couple years ago, I was pissed when James was like, "Oh man, Mr. Brady," like, dude, Taylor ripped this dude's heart out.
Yeah.
I was mad at that. That's why I wasn't mad at Chase Young.
Yeah, because Tom Brady would have pushed him into traffic if he could have and gotten away with it,
Yeah.
you know? And that's just how it was. Tom Brady ain't thinking about your how you doing, or he's not thinking about your admiration. He don't even care. He's there to win that game.
Do that after the game.
Yeah.
Do that after the game. And like you saw how they shook hands after the game, it was cool. And he shook hands with Taylor Heineke because damn, Taylor Heineke kept them in that game. And I just think that it's all about friendly competition. We all talk trash. People talk trash on 2K.
Yeah.
Or that glorified roster update known as Madden. You know, people talk trash all the time. Why people still buy that game is beyond me. But
hey, there's a video on YouTube I was watching, and this guy's like, he's got this big promotion thing where he wants people to stop buying Madden. And then he goes back and he goes back to Madden 05. And he said all the features that Madden 05 had, and then you look at this new Madden right now, he's like, Madden 05 has more features than this did, and he just broke it all down. And I was like, man, people are actually paying money for this stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, I got the game. I got a gift card, PlayStation gift card for my birthday, and I was like, okay, so I got this gift card, and so the game was basically free for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like go out of my own personal money to get it or anything. But yeah, I have it, and again, like you said, all it is just updating the roster. That's all it is.
I would have paid $20 just for that, just keep the game. But, you know, and I'll say this, I just think that, hey, before I go, we could beat the Saints next week. We can. But you got to but I think it's all about that pass rush. Can they get something up the middle? Yeah. And because my only concern is, it's great Devin White has all those sacks, but at the same time, I hate the fact that he leads the team in sacks.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
I hate that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. But again, everybody's got to step up, and I think you could tell that Devin White was missed last night, and I'm just glad that he's 100% healthy. He's rested for the playoffs. I'm sure we'll see a little bit of rust, maybe, but at the end of the day, I'm glad he's on the field. Let's hope
he's healthy.
Let's hope we can get Ronald Jones back. That would be so nice to have that guy back, and it would definitely help this offensive line a whole lot. So, hey, T. Smitty, thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate you being on, man. I'm just, like I said, I'm just watching the game. I got to go fire up the grill anyway.
Yeah.
And have some wings tonight. You know, it's football season. Got to have
wings. I got to put the steak on. And remember, remember, if Alabama lose, I'm blocking your ass. Like, you know that. You go. I don't want to hear it.
Bro, I swear I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to publicly humiliate you. I'll throw some shade. I'm going to throw some shade. Trust me. But because I know Ohio State's got this game. They're going to win this game. And I'm predicting Ohio State wins by 2 touchdowns.
Oh shit, man! We might. Oh wow, okay. On that note, you go ahead and go do your thing, man. Make those wings. Yeah, I hope the fire marshal comes to your house now. But hey, you guys have a good one, man. Right. You gotta take it easy.
All right, man. T. Smitty. Yeah. So, this is a good game, man. Missed field goal. It looks like Lamar Jackson gets the ball. They got the ball back. This is just a good game. I don't know what's going on here. First down. They got a first down. Wow. 4 minutes and 23 seconds left in this game, and it looks like all they need. Man, this is just not going to be good. 20. So, goodness, this is not going to be good. Let's see what is the penalty. Let's see what the penalty is here. Pass interference Oh, offensive pass interference. They calling it back. Look at here. Look at here. Oh, Willie Snead. Willie Snead notorious for that shit, man. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Oh, he picked him. He picked him a little bit. All right, I see. I see you, man. All right, let me get back to the chat. You know what, Ahmad? I agree, man. This is a game. I mean, because these two teams hate each other. I ain't even no lie. This should have been a night game. I think this is that game right here. Justin Tucker, he missed from 52 earlier. He made it 33. So let's see what he's got. 51 yards. And it's good. Wow. So here we go. Just slow down Kamara with 45 and 54. Davis does a good job on Thomas. We just have to get after Breeze. Let's see if the refs let them hold. You know what? That's been the thing, man. The refs have played a huge part. They're not calling holding or anything like that. But, you know, if you listen to a Saints fan, all the refs are against them and all this other stuff. So, I don't know. Crybaby Michael Thomas is going to be back tonight. So, I think I'm pretty sure he's going to be back tonight. We'll see. That's the game that I have on my list, and I can't wait to watch it. And I'm definitely going to have some fun with it. Well, guys, thank you so much for checking. You know, I'm watching this game, man. This game's almost over. I think the Saints are up next, I believe. Yeah, Bowles got to get creative with them blitzes up the middle. Yeah. Them ribs. Yes. Willie Graham, are you talking about the McRibs, or are you talking about Drew Brees? Which ribs are you making reference to, my friend? Just curious. We're at a commercial. So, guys, who do you want to see? I've seen some Chicago. Some people want Chicago. Some people want the Saints as the next team that the Bucs face. I'm torn because the Bucs should have never lost to Chicago in the first damn place, and I realized that Chris Godwin was out that game, and I think that played a factor. But with the list of weapons that the Bucs have right now, and the majority are healthy, 100%. This is a game that I would love to see the Bucs face the Bears again and run it back. That would be. Oh, okay. If Chicago. Oh, you know what? If Chicago wins, the Bucs play the Rams. So the Rams at home. It would be in Ray J, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be a good game. I stand corrected on what I was saying. It's kind of going back to it all, though. I would love to see Chicago. I would love for the Bucs to see Chicago again and running back on that game. Might not happen. Probably won't happen. We'll probably more than likely end up playing the Saints again for the third time. And I'm not nervous about that game. I really believe that Tampa's got the team that can do it. They just kind of have to execute and make it happen. All right, here we go. 2013. Uh-oh. 20-13 right now. Ravens over Titans. Titans are coming out onto the field. Let's see what happens. That's true. Any game the Bucs play from here on out would be a rematch. That is true. I didn't even think about it that way. I can see the Saints game being like week one, except we're much more crisper. I swear, I hope I never see another game plan like that second Saints game. I'll go through the roof if that happens. Drew Brees. Drew Brees. There you go. That is so funny. Yeah, McRibs. Oh, McRibs. You know what? That's the other game. Definitely shouldn't have lost to the Rams. 100% agree, man. And that was another game. The Bucks beat themselves with these dumbass penalties, and they just put themselves in bad positions, man. And they didn't play to their strengths. They didn't take what the defense was giving them, because the Rams are soft in the middle, and I saw that yesterday against the Seahawks, and I do believe that that's a team that the Bucks can the Bucks would do well against. So again, we'll see. Can only take one, Shaq or Godwin. Who you got? I would take Shaq. Shaq Barrett would probably be my choice, just because I witnessed the woes of the defensive line throughout the years. And despite what people think that he didn't have a good season, he was amazing quarterback pressures. And again, I think when you get Vita Vea back, I really believe that he's somebody that you want on that defensive line. So I would definitely take Shaq at this point. Godwin, I love God as much as I love Godwin, which I do. I just feel like the defense, the trenches need to be addressed, and they need to be continually addressed. And you get the best people you can on the field. So that's just my opinion. Again, not a head coach, but just my opinion. Golf didn't have a great season except for the Bucks game. What else is new? It's a Bucks life, baby. It's a Bucks life. All right, so here we go. Let's see what they've got. Derrick Henry picks up 7. No, picks up 8. Sorry. 2nd down and 2. Here we go. AB and Rojo. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. 2 players you can't help but love those players if you're a Bucks fan. Yeah, Derrick Henry, they're shutting Derrick Henry's ass down in the playoffs. I don't know. Who will be the quarterback after Brady retires? Man. You know what? And to answer that question, I'm going to say this. I really would need to see what free agency is going to look like. And if I would think you would draft somebody at this point. Blaine Gabbert's not the answer. Blaine Gabbert is a placeholder. I would think that's a position that you really want to make sure you got the best player available. Dang, they shut him down. They stopped him. Derrick Henry didn't get it. 4th down. Again, as we would have to get closer to that time. I figured that it might be Josh Rosen, but Josh Rosen moved on to the 49ers, so that wasn't the case. I don't know. I just kind of have to see what's available at that time. It's kind of hard to tell. The more Goff does, the easier they are to beat. Plus, Kupp is hurt his knee at the end of the game too. Yep, that's a great point. Ahmad, you're right. BA is good with vets. I think BA has really helped Jason Light. They've worked well together in building these teams up, this team up that they have. So I'm really excited with them. And we'll just kind of see how this all goes. Ramsey is blanketing people now. Him and Evans would be a great matchup. They were a great matchup that last time. I think I'm not a big Jalen Ramsey fan. He's good. I think he's a whiner. He's like the defensive back version of Michael Thomas. But, again, that's just my personal opinion. Let's see. The Saints, the only team to take 3 quarterbacks. Team it takes 3 quarterbacks to beat us. That's funny. Man, we're winding it down, man. We're almost to the end of this game, and go fire up this grill. But I'll be doing this again next week. I may jump on here later on, maybe 4th quarter of this Saints game, and just see what everybody's thinking. Is there any possibility Levante doesn't come back? I don't see it. Levante David, and Mike Evans are 2 people I could never see in another team uniform. And so when I look at this squad, Those are two players. I mean, anybody else I could see him in another uniform, but ultimately it's Levante David and Mike Evans are two players I just could not see them in another uniform. It would blow my mind. I'm sure I would be mad for a while because I'm emotionally invested in those guys. If you can't already tell. Oh yeah, Aaron Donald. Has anybody heard how Aaron Donald, how bad was that injury? I know he couldn't breathe. I mean, when you were looking at him on the sidelines, I mean, he couldn't breathe. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play out. Anyway, Will the Brewer, what you going? It is possibly, I'm doing salmon. Yep, I'm grilling salmon probably here in a few minutes, so I'll jump on there and do that. But anyway, guys, this has been fun. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here and get ready to cook. And enjoy your Sunday. We got two more playoff games to enjoy. And again, you may see me back on here later on. Oh, who are my top three favorite Bucks of all time? Not best, but favorites. I would say Warren Sapp would be one. James Wilder would be two. And I'm going to go new school. I'm going to say Mike Evans. Game over. That game is over. So, again, guys, go Bears. Yeah, we'll be watching this game to see. I'll be definitely watching to see if the Bucks end up hosting. Or if the Bucks are hosting a playoff game, wouldn't that be crazy? That would just be the highlight of this 2020 season, other than winning the Super Bowl or playing in a Super Bowl in Tampa. That would be wild. But anyway, I'm out of here. I will holler at you guys later.